All right. It's the first time I've gone live publicly. And I'm just, oh, fine. And that's okay. And I need to figure out, right. Hello. So if anybody in the chat can let me know that they hear me, and there's about a 10-second delay. Hey, Lewis, can you let me know if you can you hear me? Okay, good. Awesome. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. So I will put my phone to the side. And maybe give another minute. And I'm using StreamYard, so and it looks, yeah, okay, this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So okay. So it looks like if somebody wanted to make the screen larger, they could. So I think I may just, although 5 people, that's not bad if they're actually listening. So I may just go ahead. It's 3 minutes after. Give another minute. But this is kind of awesome that I. I can show comments now. I think that's cool. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, like I say, about 10 second, 5 to 10 second delay from when I speak to when you guys on YouTube hear it. Just kind of weird. Again, just giving a few minutes for people to, okay, 4 minutes after, give people 6. We got another person, we got another taker. It's awesome. Hopefully more. And so I'm going to go ahead and start. So, welcome. This is Katie with Harmonizing Journey to Realignment Seminar and Sessions. And today, we are going, as well as just thank you for everyone who decided to take the plunge into understanding who we are as spiritual beings living out the mechanics of manifestation called Keylonta. The primary resource used was the Elements of Discovery manual by the Cathara team by Azurite Press. This is an excellent summary of the Freedom Teachings. I'm in no way affiliated with Azurite Press or Arias Productions. The Elements of Discovery is not for sale at this time, or I would have had the link for you guys to purchase it there. But I do have a PDF of it available on my website, nightjourney.com, in the HJR Seminars tab. Yeah. And we will have a Q&A time after the introductory talk on Keylonta. So please put your questions in the chat. And if you have anybody that is, step out of there. If you have anybody from the Discord HJR Grid Keepers chat, I should see the message coming on my bottom of my computer. So we'll do it that way. I want to still be able to look at the YouTube feed. Okay. So yeah, get your questions. It looks like we're going to be pretty intimate groups. So we just lost 2 people. That's a bummer doodle. Yeah. And I will see what of those questions I can answer on YouTube, depending on what they are. But I do go down deeper rabbit holes in our private HJR Keeper community membership program. Okay. So yes, Harmonizing Journey to Realignment Foundation Series, Introduction to Keylonta Session 1, again by Katie Oshiwa and Nitah. I'm going to go ahead and enlarge that for myself, okay, so I can see it better. All right, so Keylontic Science. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Keylontic Science. Keylonta is the science of manifestation templates within a larger 15-dimensional universal unified field of physics light body construct. A manifestation template is made up of units of conscious energy called particuli that exist on as omnipolar points. Omnipolar fixed points of vibration. These fixed points of consciousness are the smallest building blocks of matter. We are talking here of them. We're talking about these building blocks. We're talking here of the mind of the all that is that I'm always talking about. God source first eternal, Ayah, Ayah, us, they, it. The Keylon code technology. So the Partakai unit, also known as the Manu, or one and ANT matter, holds within its form constant structure the polarity of light and sound. The 2 polarities are also known as, we have the Parta K, male, traditionally considered male, electrical, anti-ANTI, matter, particle, overtone, and female particum, magnetic matter, particle, base tone. Okay, you have the base and the overtone. And then again, the Manu, the form constant, holding the base tone and overtones together. Okay. The I am of creation. So, looking at this mechanics, so when people are talking about I am, this is really the mechanics side, the value of I am. So, we are the I am of creation of the law of one. Again, that's a term that's used that I think a lot of people don't really understand. The I represents the individuated density ego identity as God's source for eternal, Ayah, Ayah, eternal pillar. Okay, this is our B, I, and then the am is how we all, as eyes, harmonize into the mind of God's first eternal, Ayah, Ayah, you, me, we, it. So everything around us is a creation of our eternal being within that connection, and there's a whole bunch of mechanics that go into the polar power, polar peace, the mechanics of our central body current. And our chakra system is part of that system, that technology. And another way of saying it is in-breath is the I within our 13th. Another way of saying I of our materialized individuality, and the am is the out-breath expressions of all that is harmonizing together in this light-body world of multidimensional realities. For nowhere are you not within the mind of Aya as Aya. Okay. And again, any questions? Because I can't read a C. I had to make it bigger. Put those questions in the chat, and when we're out of the presentation, go back and we can look at some of these a little bit deeper, but I want to make sure we got through the information, and then we'll go back and look at different aspects as well as any other questions that you guys might have. Okay. All right. Morphogenic field. Okay. So we're picturing out from that eternal core of our being, creating all kinds of manifest expressions. We're looking at the amness lives within Keylon-coded morphogenic fields of creation. So these morphogenic fields of complex scalar standing wave grids of thought intention create the fabric, okay, of ideas interwoven, and I'll show you a little diagram on that in a sec. They are the building blocks for an atom, and there's many levels to creating that atom, all the way out to the structure of a dimensional band and, of course, beyond. So we have that combination always within the Keylontic structure of the macro and the micro, within 15, which lives within a 15-dimensional universal, this Eka time matrix within multiple universal akashas within cosmayas and cosmayas of creation within that mind of source. Okay. So many layers, all interfaced within the same basic blueprint structure, which we'll be getting to right here, the Eka 15-dimensional time matrix. We live and embody an Eka Veka Kathara grids within our personal, you, me, us, and it. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm just worried you can't hear me. We live and embody an Eka Veka Kathara grids within our personal, you, me, we, us, they, it of the all that is, God's eternal Aya mechanics here in our universal time matrix Kathara grid. And that was from page 12 of the book. We are intricately linked with the primal light and sound fields unify into the core of Source itself. And we more at the end, I've got that diagram, a bigger view of it, that we can really look closer at that. But just to understand those circles, 1, 2, 3, on through the Kathara grid structure, those are the energy centers, also known as six. And then there's lines. So just like a circuit board. Okay. So, and that blueprint Kathara grid structure is throughout all of creation, from the most minute to the largest structures, all utilize that Kathara grid structure on your screen. And in those Kathara centers, we have many crossover energy lines. You have what would be considered planetary stargates, would be a Kathara center energy line. Major energy centers, major power spots are the planetary Kathara grid structure, because everything has that structure where the major crossover points, and how those energies link up throughout the whole network of the planet, or the whole network of our body, or the whole network of an atom. Okay. All right. Okay, the planetary biofeed interface system, PBIS. I didn't make up that term. That's obviously a KS term by Nazareth Press originally. By actually, okay, so this is showing the diagram of the catharic grid structure now in the human body, so you can kind of see where those cathar centers are in the associated energy lines. So the human's personal morphogenic template, right? Because we also have densities. We have that catharic grid structure template is interwoven into the Earth's planetary morphogenic field, creating, okay, so that again, remember the Earth has its own catharic grid structure. The two together, interfacing at the root chakra. Root chakra goes from the tip of the tailbone all the way down into the Earth's core's root chakra, as well as an interface back up with the 13th chakra, which is also located, or our 13th chakra, which is also located in the center of the planet structure. This creates a biofeed interface system. I like to call it myself the personal planetary morphogenic field structure, and I use that term a lot. So this is really good for you guys can understand why I reference this all the time, which is how you're really able to create your own reality. So whatever affects the planet affects all life on the planet and vice versa. And I would just kind of add as well, as a whole, okay, humanity creates the energetic, tonal, vibratory signature, everything's signatures of a planetary form. Okay, the planet Earth, all the life on it, plants, animals, people, but particularly predominantly people, because of our coding and what we are as creators of itself, creates that the morphogenic field for the planet as a whole. We do it all together. Okay. And in the same light with that, though, the planet is connected to the universal and cosmic structures of the all that is, God, source, first, eternal. For example, suppose we hold God good intentions and are mindful of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. In that case, we create a harmonious planetary reality. If we have fear, scarcity, and ill intent, then that is the planetary world we create. We may or may not see the fruits of our endeavor in our lifetime, but the effects will be there in every blade or to political structures, right? So very much what happened, a feed interface system of creation. I'm just kind of a little added why we need to be concerned about Keylonta science. Because a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so freaking complicated. I don't know if I can handle it. I just want to, go to work, have a home, paid, blah, 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 But wanting to understand the mechanics of manifestation, it's important because through the energy lines and energy centers, through the many suns, planetary structures within, or there's suns within every time matrice, and there's, like I said, many time matrices, all connecting through the biofeed interface system, or the energy lines and energy centers of planetary bodies, and life on them receives. So you're receiving both the planetary, what the planet receives through its networks within the universe, as well as your personal connection with the networks of the universe, are all coming in. The solar stuff that's been going on lately, right? Everybody's talking about the activation with the solar rays, what they're called. We have those come in and just read. Everybody feels like that's information coming in. Okay, through the sun. Receiving evolutionary streams of consciousness. We either go with these activations or lag behind. And when we lag behind, I'm talking not just a few moments here and there, but consistently lag behind over your whole lifetime and probably multiple lifetimes. If you're not careful, you can start running a divergent timeline. Okay. It can be groups of you running divergent timelines. Zetas are a really good example of our future selves, so a certain group of future people that went into the transhumanist agenda and followed it to the T and split off into a whole different timeline in reality, basically. And now they're coming back trying to get their stuff fixed, but they really aren't doing it the right way because they want to keep having control like they had before. They were trying to have before. Our choices affect the overall planetary evolution by how well or not we evolve. And again, just a reminder for anybody new coming in, I'm not seeing y'all's questions. So think about stuff to ask me, because when I'm done with this part of it, we're going to go into Q&A time. All right. The lone harmonic of the personal planetary morphogenic template. Remember I talked about there's planetary energy lines and energy centers of the full time matrices, and then there's our personal connection. So we receive the universal life force current through our personal cathartic grid structure that we saw a couple of slides ago that interfaces it comes into our body, but there's definitely an interfacing point with our Casaris and central one, which is located again at the tip of our tailbone, all again at the Earth's core. And there's an interface with the planetary Earth's core D1, and also an interface with chakra 13 in the planetary structure. So, but we have our own personal connection. But that personal connection interfaces into the planetary's multidimensional perspective, and everybody's connects into that. So this is how we all can have similar realities, because again, everybody has our personal, but then we have our, through the planetary connection of all our root chakras, this is how we can have similar realities, yet still hold our own lone harmonic. The energy consciousness moves through the energy lines via the, we'll talk about in the next class, and we'll look at some of it later on. Shields of the bodies interacting with the dyadic points, signets, seed crystal seals, and axion lines. And again, like D1 has its interfaces with crystal seals, signets, dyadic points, dimensional realities, universal structures, planetary structures. This all interfaces with a lot of different levels. And that was page 14 and 15. Okay. The universal life force currents. So, the universal life force currents enter the body via Merkaba fields. The Cathara grid core template, DNA template, is central vertical current through progressive activation of the 12 strands of the template. We are by nature an angelic human. Have most of us the 12 strand capability, activation capability. There are some on the planet that are so compromised and have predominantly, as I've talked many times before, that have a lot of Anunnaki or Draco or Zeta who've lost their D12. Some of them even are due to connection. For those of us that do have the full D12, can interface into the primal light and sound fields of our Rishi level, or to make the full connection. These life force currents within the biofield are regulated by the cranial and sacral seals. So talking about the pineal and the first eight cells in the tailbone. That is part of the Kundalini activation. We're going through. Many people have varying degrees of how they are starting to activate. But usually when a big old activation's big one's coming in, we get those headaches and we hurt down, on our and our hip might hurt, or we have different. It's because we're receiving those energy lines and energy as you're receiving those higher energy activation streams of consciousness through the suns into our body field. So yeah, sometimes it can hurt. Sometimes the world just goes bonker doodles upside down. Okay, so I wanted to just get a little bit over this, and then we. So this particular chart looks at the 50-dimensional anatomy. The first 4 shields and hova bodies, each with 3 signets and 3 corresponded by 2 Qatar centers. So looking at the bottom, we have the 1, 2, and 3 sphere, and that has a shield, which is called the telluric shield, and that has a cathartic structure within it, and lots of information. Again, the circuit board has the encoded information for the creation of a light body structure or structure. And this shield is consciousness. When it's activated, it becomes an orb structure or a sphere, and that would be the name for harmonic universe 1 / density 1, is the nadial hova body. And this is a more matter-based, taste it, touch it, feel it, thick matter. Again, dimensions 1, 2, and 3. This is the incarnate personality or an mortal mind. We're very focused on life and death here, right? The mortal mind. Okay. This structure goes like this through all the density planes, and these are all reality constructs. So we have a lot of people that are calling in the New Agey movement, calling density, dimensions, densities. Okay. A dimensional band. Again, those Partakai phasings build up Keylon codes to a band. And that band holds a certain cathar grid energetic structure. And actually, with each band, we have 12 subharmonics within that band. So you have to develop, and again, the full 12 harmonics for each DNA strand or band, right? Because it's all the same dimensional framework. We have within our DNA, as well as the planetary density, D1, or subharmonics, there's been tier. So we, getting those different subharmonics worked on. We're in the process of getting that cleared out in Keylonic science. As far as I have not seen anything else that can actually go into the density band and realign and recalibrate the density band. And now that we've got access to the spirit, Tandria Hura mechanics, we're going into the deeper into the mechanics, the spirit quantum level, how to realign and integrate each of these dimensional bands. And you always have within a world realm 3 dimensions. And you have there's always a D1, D2, D3, even though they're saying 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The D1 is always going to be the molecular structure, what you can see under the microscope. And I don't remember her ever saying this. So maybe she did. I just don't remember her saying it. But to me, the D1 is what I just said, but it would be the menu, would represent the menu for the syndrome. It's the material framework, the bones, maybe you could say, of a realm. And then the D2 is the emotional, elemental, magnetic, a female. And then dimension 3 is the NA, electrical outpicturing, which is outpicturing of the mental reality that we create. And the D2 is always the center control. The emotional, elemental, is always the central control for a harmonic or universal reality. And we are incarnate, or Earth is 61 incarnate reality. Okay. And okay, so yeah. And then for our planet, it'll come out of my mouth. Our D2 on the planet, Stargate would be Stargate, and that is in Sarasota, Florida. So there's a lot of mechanics, a lot to talk about with Sarasota, Florida. Okay, so the Doratic, how are we doing? Not too bad. We're doing okay. Okay. In our traditional religions, there's always it's some form of Valhalla or heaven or some place that when someone transitions, the next level to connect into is, when they transition out of this and they're supposed to make it to the next level. That was the goal. There have been those that have made it to what we call Terra, but it's a lot have not made it. A lot are kind of stuck. But that's what was meant with a lot of the traditions, to bring us to our next level of evolutionary development with ascension capability or initiation science. So the shield for our heaven, so to speak, or our angelic mind, angelic realities, of our soul level, the shield is the Doratic shield, and the alpha holobot in the sphere consciousness is the alpha holobody. And now we're getting from being completely just matter-based, now we're bringing in there's now semi-etheric matter. Okay. We get dimensions 4, 5, and 6. The next dimensional plane up, which would be considered our oversoul level on a personal level, from a universal time matrixy perspective for the Earth, it would be Gaia. And the shield is the Turk shield, and its sphere, or radial body construct that's manifested out, is the Jehovah body. And this has now become more of an etheric, not just semi-etheric, but etheric matter-based. Okay. Yeah, again, our angelic consciousness. Sorry. Archangel, our archangel mind. Okay. the density, or HU2 is our angelic mind, our density 3, our harmonic universe 3 is our archangel mind. And then we have our avatar, which is our Mahara Hova body, heart shield, or avatar mind, 10, 11, 12. This is a pre-matter liquid light. And this liquid light being is a manifestation fully and completely of the current time matrix. This being can shift in consciousness with his mind because he's activated. When he's activated, fully activated, he can be conscious completely of being a harmonic universal incarnate. He can then shift himself into being within the angelic mind of this harmonic universe too, and do the same for the archangel mind, and then back up to being as full avatar consciousness. And that is it. Wait. Nope, not it. Okay, well, it is it. So I just want to just kind of take a break before we go into the Q&A. We're done with the introductory material. I'll be doing this once a month, unless I get more people wanting to go more than once a month. But we'll go on more introductory material and going in more depth with different various things that you guys say, hey, I want to know about this, that, and the other. We can look at that when we're looking at introductory material at some point. You still have to follow a particular progression of information, but yeah. All right, so Harmonizing Journey Through Alignment private sessions utilizes Keylonta and HJR mechanics. Both sciences are the original organic creation mechanics. The mechanics work with the organic light body and plasma spirit body structure to bring you back to your organic first creation mechanics of the eternal domain of the all that is. This technology realigns the artificial finite second creation Fibonacci 2 towards net worth program with its natural, perpetually renewing organic ascension new earth expression. You first do the HJR introductory session, because across those of you who follow me kind of know there's a sequence to be connected into your pod space, so that's very much on a first one. And then you are on your way to exploring you are as the all that is, the first eternal IA. You may be updating it at your own pace, obviously. In the pod space, we start out looking in the Ureta crystal caverns, clearing programs keeping you stuck, especially for the first session, and kind of work on ongoing. And you can obviously, once you make it into the pod space on your own, depending upon kind of where you're at, you can work on a lot of that stuff yourself. It is so helpful so many times to have somebody help you out with that, but it's not an absolute. And then you can connect with the Rainbow Pillar Bridge to the Ureta zone to perform so. Next, you make your way into the Urea Earth to set up temples of space. So, crystal Ureta crystal caverns. The Rainbow Bridge Pillar, which is Keylonic perspective, is also considered the integral bridge, 7 bridges flows, or the bypass system that I like to call it. The 15-dimensional time matrix. We haven't been able to clear up problems. There's a whole bunch of reversals in that structure, but we're in the process of actually doing a bypass system, and in the same process, recreating a whole new life body structure, plugging into the whole matrix. Matrices that aren't compromised. And it's been a fascinating process. of working with this mechanics, and finally actually starting to do the older human experience techniques that we couldn't do for a long time. We're able now to, with the information and the energies that are coming in, and the realigning and recalibrating process. And it's really been like your old cathartic matrix structure, the new one, and working at the kinks and aligning the energy lines and energy centers has been very fascinating. And then through that, there's also a plexi zone, which is fascinating, and this is a technology that interfaces in with the Earth matrix structure, also known as the eighth sphere from esoteric Christianity initiation science folks. Being able to do soul retrieval out of there. And again, that's part of that lining up process. We've got to be able to fully align and activate properly. The introductory session takes about 2 hours. HJR sessions can then range from an hour to 2 hours, depending upon the individual, how many questions, different things you want to talk about, jumping quickly and just working through stuff in an hour. $100 for the introductory and $50 an hour for the ongoing. I don't know anybody else that does this type level of work that's inexpensive. It's usually like $2 or $3, $200 to $300 for the average person out there. Okay. And this I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of this. The HJR Gatekeepers Community Membership Program. For those who are either new to HJR or advanced HJR clients, this community offers a small, private, safe, and supportive environment where you can study and apply the Keylonta and Tantra Infrared mechanics. And Tantra Infrared mechanics is more of the spirit body mechanics. Keylonta is more of the light body mechanics, and they do interface. Right? And there's actually a spirit quantum in every atom, every life structure, because you have that light sound and quantum in each particle, each atom would be considered a minute structure within its flashing ons and offs. Yeah, so let's see. And tangent mechanics of manifestation, create your own personal planetary morphogenic field template. We already have it, but it's mindfully creating it what you actually want it to be, right? Twice a month for group journeys and once a month for group discussion. This is basically a $250 value. Well, actually, it's more than that because it's what I would charge doing private sessions. So it would be probably double, quadruple that for anybody else doing the same amount of work in energy. So this is a $250 value for only $10 a month, or $12 a year. Also included is a 30% discount on our HJR session for members. And yeah, I hope you guys will consider it. There's something else I was thinking about, held off because I was reading it. People that are extremely new to this, to HJR, harmonizing, moving to alignment, like never even had a session. You can come in. I have, when you make it into the paid part, there's a video with a PDF video. You can go through that for the introductory session. There's also then a video, audio, I think it's a PDF as well, with how to get into your pod space moving forward, because obviously you need to go through the whole introductory process once you've done it once, unless you go like a really time not getting into your pod, then you probably would want to go do the process again. And you can make it into the to one journey in the beginning. And then I have certain ones to go through of pre-recorded, or not previous sessions that we did as a group, that are very important to go through to get yourself up to the advanced level. Because if you go in at the advanced level when you haven't done even an introductory session, or you get up to being in your pod, into your rare earth, it's just not going to work. So there's, but we'll all meet together at least once a month until you make it up, and create. You'll be part of the shield, right? Because we have a group, because our shield's connecting within our pod structure. So it's fascinating, it's fun, but of course you're all in your little harmonics. Okay, the I amness. And then one more here. And Waking in the Lane book series. So while this story appears to be a typical science fiction tale, it is actually a piece of first ancient hidden history. Much of the past. I'm almost done. This is the last one. And again, please get your questions. I look forward to the questions when I'm done with this. So, okay. Much of the past I had remembered through my affiliation with the freedom teachings of Keylonta science. The rest was through characters' lives, and stories shared through. Kara, Eshwa, Ganado, Prince Calder, Queen Asana, even John Davian all have a place in my heart. I was glad I could get their story down on paper. These books were a long time in the making, still are. I started them in 2006 while I was living in Mexico. A friend, Black Unicorn, felt that I should be a storyteller of Keylontic science. The study of light, sound, the base codes of matter, multidimensionality, and creation mechanics. Quite a month, right? It was half an hour of it was plenty probably for a lot of people. Well, needless to say, it has been challenging for most people to grasp the information involved. I hope this book gives one the heart and meaning of Keylontic science, which is how to live by the law of one, or the oneness that I refer to so intensely in these books. In fact, it is a prime example of how all species can live a whole and complete life. So that should be it. Yeah, that's it. I will have the links for everything at the end of the video. As soon as I hit that. At the end of the video, the description. There we go. Okay. So I can put that down. All right. Oh, we've got some questions. Okay, good. So thank you, Louis. All right. So first question. Oh, how would you go about realigning all those aspects of you that end up on divergent timelines? Because I could see a situation playing out where a being comes out of a very good question, Louis. Very good. I just put my table. I would say fascinating. Well, the one thing that we do, I mean, part of it, well, you would have to still have a connection somewhat to your template, your organic template to begin with. Because if you don't have that connection, you're not going to have the mindset to even think about any of this. It would just go over the top of your head. So you do have to have some kind of connection to your template to do it. And then I think there's probably multiple different ways. And again, like somebody who is pretty damaged, I don't know if they would have it in them to do an HJR session even. I think that would be bigger than them. I think a lot of people, for instance, going into Christianity, Judaism, my nose itching. Judaism, I'm going to even say becoming a Muslim. Anything where you're focused on a strict protocol of learning, of working on your stuff. The 12-step program actually is really good and actually comes out of the Bible. There's St. James, I can't remember which biblical part, but St. James comes into my mind, one of his books. Whichever one that is, the gospel, I guess. Working on your stuff, working at clearing your miasms, working at taking self-responsibility for stuff. That's a beginning step. And the more miasms you can work out of your D2 emotional elemental body holds within it your traumas and stresses, both this lifetime and actually past lifetimes. It's held within cellular memory. So current life situations can also go back to those past, like, right? Because it's another thing I didn't talk about. It's all simultaneous. So all the time matrix is everything manifested together all at the same time. The harmonic universe 1 structure gives us a temporal linear reality based pulse rhythm. But you get out of it into D4 and beyond, it's a whole different ballgame of how you experience the fullness of reality. But here, most of us are stuck in this temporal structure, linear structure, and it's all kinds of things going on within our emotional elemental body. I answered this. Yeah. So when you've made so many choices and you've gone off on a divergent timeline, we're not talking about a portion, or I should say, I wasn't talking about a portion. I was literally like, so a Zeta would be an example of that. That would be really difficult. Again, I don't know. I guess people on this planet that have a lot of Zeta coding, again, starting with the very basics of Christianity and or Judaism or Muslimism or whatever, Buddhism, Sikhism, any of those ancient, older type religions. I wouldn't say so much of the New Agey stuff, but the more base religions really help the Anunnaki and the Zetas and the Dracos build themselves back up. But most of them that are on a divergent timeline, for the most part, aren't even on this planetary structure to utilize this system. They would be somewhere in the 8th sphere, from Earth world. So I'm going to say that's probably it for that one. If I needed to say more. Oops, God, I can't do this. Okay. All right. And through its own, okay, I guess that's a continuation. So let's see what else we can add to what I said. So, and through its own free will down here at different levels, decides that it doesn't like the agendas that its own higher levels are playing out, and decides it wants to disconnect if that's possible. Or, that. Or would that one rogue probable self be able to realign its higher levels from down here, push it into a new timeline and away from a divergent timeline? That's actually kind of another good element. Um, I think we're at that point where the higher aspects of ourselves, because of having access to the tangible technology, that we can actually um, have more, our higher aspects can have more of a connection with our like harmonic universe one self. But I would say when you're really going down a divergent timeline, become remember because it's planet and personal fields are together, you've literally created a whole new planetary structure in a divergent timeline. So that would include probably the harmonic universe one, probably the harmonic universe two, probably the harmonic universe three, and maybe even some level of four, completely cut off from the 13th pillar, i.e., so Rishi level. You're cut off completely from that consciousness. So I don't even think that they really communicate at all. Uh, yeah, it would be, I can't say that it's impossible, but you're literally living in a crazy, dark, heavy miasma. And there would have to be, again, like with soul retrieval, when we use the with HJR, for example, because I can talk about for sure what I know. So, like with the Ureta fields, or Ureta zone, excuse me, that structure that faces what would be considered a divergent time matrix, right? The phantom Earth or matrix, which all these pretty much all these divergent realities somehow are in. And I think it has its own multidimensional universal levels of structure within it too, right? Bit by bit, we're getting waves that even are hitting that phantom matrix, whether it's through this Ureta zone structure that interfaces and can interface and connect, or other higher levels coming in to connect. So that was a really good question. We have time for probably one more question. Anybody else? We just went down to 2 people. Is there anybody else that would like to ask a question? That was a really good one. You made me work. You made me work at that answer. Okay. Why did you retract messages? Oh, retracted. That might be because okay. Well, that's interesting to know. I guess if there's no more questions, I don't know yet when the next session will be, but it'll probably be, I'm going to look at the cards, feel out the energies to determine the next session. It'll probably be around the same time. And, oh, okay. What is your goal with the HJR Grid Keepers community? Creating a new, or one of the things, Earth mindfully, utilizing all of the mechanics and technology and energies that we have available to us. It's a nice private community I don't know that there's ever going to be a really large number of people, just because I'm so off the beaten path of the normal. But utilizing the Tandrea Hurl mechanics, the spirit body mechanics, um, within our space is basically our plasma body consciousness of the Mashayahana, the Dashi adept, the one who's able, when I talked about with the avatar, the time matrix going down, up, you go into the Rishi levels, in many other levels out, back into the eternal core of our being, of Source itself, and spend time in there, and we usually come back down different time cycles, quote unquote, of totally spacing and what. And I even did a HJR Insight post on it, but those different cycles that we go through. The one that I talk about with Steiner and all. Cycle, and connect, go back up again. There's like 3 or 4 times we do that, and become a certain type of Hadashi adept, and that's a lot of us right now are at that level, and just bringing that part of ourselves back in to utilize, again, all of who we are, to really embody the IA, who we are as all the cancers are teacher, really as the I am, completely not being stuck in the old matrix. All right. Got a couple more minutes. Like we gained one more person, so that's good. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, thank you so much. Bless your heart. But yes, I am here. I am here for questions, especially on different things like the biofeed interface system. So really understanding that personal, planetary, origin, field structure of how you create your reality. The stuff that's kind of excellent reading to help understand with that. Abraham, understanding the mechanics of manifestation. Nisha had a wonderful mechanics of manifestation workshop that she did back in the day, of understanding how the base codes of matter, templates, really tuning in, becoming mindful of how we create, how we feel, what our thoughts are, what's going on in our head, and clearing out the blocks so that we can align and bring, we're talking earlier, the energy lines, energy centers, bringing in those higher primal source consciousness, all right, from the internal core down energy lines and energy centers into the domains, to our suns, into our physical and planetary structures. If we've got blocks, we need to get rid of those blocks so the energy can flow in. And then when we don't have any discordant energies, any Maya, twisted, creative, funky stuff, harmonizing journey really works at both private sessions and group sessions, because it's very powerful. When the group is together, we can check each other, use each other as kind of helpers. Like, I'm seeing this, what are you seeing? Oh, I'm seeing that too. Okay. So we kind of build our confidence up and more who we are and experiencing more, and just really transcending into that bigger self, both individually and as a group shield, connecting to, again, creating the planetary structure we want to live in. So I think with that, we're at the hour mark. Unless some people have questions. So did we get another question? I don't see another question. That's it. So I will let you guys know about next month. And again, either on this chat or Katie at harmonizing.com, or you can reach me on Telegram, and I've got Harmonizing Journey Program channel, and LinkedIn. I've got an account in LinkedIn, Harmonizing Journey LinkedIn, as well as Katie Nitah LinkedIn account. I think if there's anything else, is there anything else I'm missing to say? I think we're good. I'll probably remember something afterwards and go darn. But thank you for those that tuned in. And I will talk to you guys later. And I will in the description, I will put the link for the HJR Grid Keepers community and the private sessions, alignments of Reiki and Alania. Love you guys. Thank you. Again, I know there's a 10-second cap. So thank you so much. Love you guys.